original scene. It's essentially the result of modern musicians and trendsetters being inspired by artists in the emo explosion of being far too trendy to be caught dead in this haircut. I think this image pretty much captures what modern emo fashion has become. Billy Eyebrow here, wearing what I'd only assumed to be a few stitched together curtains, was described as emo. This dress costs thousands of dollars and is actually Gucci. This can also be seen in these images. Celebrities spending thousands of pounds to look very similar to individuals who couldn't even afford to buy their favourite record and had a mental breakdown when their black eyeliner ran out. Emo fashion will never be the same as the mid-2010s, which honestly is probably a good thing because it looked pretty terrible. As is the same with goth and punk, aspects of the style are utilised to create outfits.
Alright, buddy. Okay. Buddy doesn't appreciate anything cool. No, I think, I mean, I guess if that's not, your kind of thing, then alright, but I think it looks pretty cool. Goth and punk and emo scene, grunge. You know, it like, I like how it all has different meanings, and it's also all like different different styles. You know, I like that people can have that. I like that people can have something to call themselves, have something to relate to. That's cool.
That might actually look good for once. Actually scratch that. Forget everything I just said. What is this? Why'd you wear this? I actually don't understand.
Okay. So now, every subculture in 15 minutes.
Punk. Punk, a subculture that emerged in the late 1960s and early...
Oh, what the hell is this? What the hell is this voice? Okay.
1970s in the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, and Australia. It is currently subdivided into street punk, crust punk, anarcho-punk, and just punk, which combines elements of all subcultures of the movement. Bands such as the Ramones and Sex Pistols are considered the first bands to play music in the punk rock style. Closely associated with punk rock is the name of the famous American artist Andy Warhol and the band Velvet Underground, which he produced. Their lead singer, Lou Reed, is considered the founding father of alternative rock, a movement closely related to punk rock. Punks are characterized by a colorful, epithetic image. Many punks dye their hair bright, unnatural colors, curl it, and fix it with hairspray, diamondine, or gel to make it stand straight. In the 1980s, the mohawk hairstyle became fashionable among punks. They wear ripped jeans tucked into heavy boots or tucked under heavy boots, Dr. Martens, and sneakers, Converse. Some pre-soak their jeans in a bleach solution to turn them red. Sneakers were started by the Ramones, and they adopted this style from Mexican gangs, also called Latinos. A Kosu jacket with lots of rivets, designs and badges is an attribute of the 1950s, when the motorcycle subculture of rockers and rock and roll were inseparable components. Punks of the first wave sought to return to rock music deliberate cockiness and drive, which over time has been taken away by the mass commercialization of music. Dead style prevails in clothing. Punks put skulls and sigils on their clothing and accessories. Punks also wear various attributes of rocker subcultures. Wristbands, bracelets, mostly leather with spikes, rivets, chains, etc., and often make them themselves. Many punks have tattoos.
You know, I really feel like the, not only the mass production of music, not mass production, maybe mass production of music, the more frequent production of music, and the, music getting out there, easier and quicker, has really taken away the aspect of with a lot of subcultures like punk and emo, and goth and scene and grunge. It's really taken away from that aspect of like undergroundness. It's not as well, because a lot of it was seen as weird, and that's okay, and that was what made it even cooler, was that people were leaning into that weirdness, and they didn't care what people thought about it. But I feel like some of that aspect has been taken away. Obviously, there's a lot of people who still don't like emo, goth, grunge, punk, and scene. I don't know if I'm covering all the subcultures, but like, there's a lot of people who still don't like that stuff. But I feel like it's and in a large to a large degree, it's a lot better because people aren't getting harassed and bullied just for wearing a fucking chain, you know. But it was, kind of part of the charm that it was kind of looked down upon, and so that part is kind of lost.
Punks often wear ripped, worn jeans, attach chains to their jeans, sew various patches to their jeans, for example, with the logos of their favourite punk bands or political slogans. Straight edge, an offshoot of the hardcore subculture that emerged as a reaction to the sexual revolution, hedonism, and other lack of temperance associated with punk rock. The bearers of this subculture are called straitjackets. In its simplest form, the straight edge philosophy denies the use of any alcoholic beverages, tobacco, also any other drugs in general, and opposes promiscuous sexual activity. It also aims at constant all-round development, material, social, physical, etc., and spiritual, mental, moral, etc., and provides for a healthy lifestyle. In some cases, this includes leading a vegetarian and vegan lifestyle, avoiding the use of caffeine-containing products and medications.
I'm gonna be working on homework in the background, by the way, so I might not talk too much. Okay.
Straight edgers are guided by the principle of stay punk, stay clean. The term was borrowed from the music group Minor Threat, who wrote a song called Straight Edge. The founder of Straight Edge is the band's founder and vocalist, Ian Thomas Garner Mackay. In the early stages of Straight Edge and its philosophy was to rebel through self-control. With the ability to control their actions, a member of the straight edge would be better equipped to resist the mainstream. The first wave of straight edge did not impose rules on others. Rather, participants chose to follow the paths of self-control. With the second wave of straight edge, these rules were used to control others. In addition,
Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that.
the second wave saw a change in musical style. Where the first wave was influenced by hardcore punk, the second wave brought aspects of heavy metal music that further pushed for power and control over others. The slowing down of the music reflected people's focus on their path to self-control. Hip-hop, a cultural and artistic movement created by African Americans, Latinos, and Caribbean Americans in the Bronx, New York City. Hip-hop is characterized by 4 key elements: performing rapping, a rhythmic vocal style of rhyming; DJing, that is, creating music using vinyl.
Dude, I love the history of hip-hop. We should watch, like, another video about the history of hip-hop. Dude, it's so cool. It's so fascinating. How it was like such a rebellion, such a rebellious type of music. And I think it has a lot of meaning, and like even the people who don't like rap and hip hop, um, I feel like can still respect the origins of it. Um, and I think it's really cool.
Turntables and DJ mixes, performing breakdancing, performing beatboxing, and painting graffiti. The Bronx hip-hop scene emerged in the mid-1970s from neighborhood parties organized by the African-American group Black Spades, described as a gang, club, and music group. Sibling duo DJ Kool Herc and Cindy Campbell also hosted DJ parties in the Bronx and are credited with developing the genre. Hip-hop culture spread to both urban and suburban communities across the United States and then around the world. These elements were adapted and developed significantly, especially as the art form spread to new continents and fused with local styles in the 1990s and subsequent decades. Although the movement continues to expand globally and explore myriad styles and art forms, including hip-hop theater and hip-hop films, the four foundational elements provide coherence and a strong foundation for hip-hop culture. Hip-hop is both new and old. The importance of sampling tracks, beats, and bass lines from older records into an art form means that much of the culture revolves around the idea of updating classic records, attitudes, and experiences for modern audiences. Sampling older culture and reusing it in a new context or format is referred to as flipping in hip-hop culture. Hip-hop music follows in the footsteps of earlier African American and Latin American music genres such as blues, jazz, ragtime, funk, salsa, and disco to become one of the most popular genres in the world. Gothic. Goth, a subculture that spread in the late 1970s in Great Britain on the basis of the punk movement. Gothic subculture is quite diverse and heterogeneous, but all its representatives are characterized to a greater or lesser extent by a specific dark image, interest in Gothic music, mysticism, black humor, films, and horror literature. Being originally youth, now in the world, the subculture is represented by people aged 14 to 45 years and older. Appearance, clothes and shoes, hairstyles, paraphernalia is one of the most important components of the Gothic subculture and can receive paramount importance in the eyes of its carriers. The term Mall...
Damn it, I don't know where that lid went. Oh man, I'll find it later.
Goth, which is derisively used to refer to those who pay more attention to their image without listening to Gothic music. The trendsetters of Gothic fashion were musicians whose appearance was oriented by their fans. At the early stage of development of the Gothic subculture for its representatives were characterized by some elements of the appearance of punks. From this movement, Goths borrowed piercings, hairstyles in the form of high spikes and mohawks. Gothic fashion of the 1980s was much more extreme and blatant than can be seen now, and developed on the principle of do-it-yourself. Its fans sewed their own clothes and made jewelry from improvised materials, and store-bought things are often either reshaped or in every way modified, torn,
Well, that's cool. I didn't even know that part.
decorated with patches and English pins. The main elements of the modern Gothic image, the predominance of black in clothing, the use of metal or silver jewelry with symbols of the Gothic subculture and characteristic makeup. Typical attributes used by Goths are the Ankh, an ancient Egyptian symbol of immortality, crosses, including Celtic crosses, images of bats and symbols of death. Goths sometimes wear various kinds of magical or occult signs. Emo. The subculture finally formed and experienced a peak of popularity in the 2000s, but its heyday was short-lived. In the 2010s, the emo style went out of fashion, and many fans lost interest in it. Not the least role in this played a negative attitude to the emo style from many other subcultures, as well as from society as a whole. The time of emo's birth was the mid-1980s, and the place was Washington, D.C. The subculture was shaped mainly by the influence of music. In the mid-1980s, a new trend of emo-core emerged from hardcore punk, with lyrics expressing
Emo-core.
personal experiences. The first emo band is usually considered to be Rites of Spring, although the band itself does not recognize this. The next wave began in the 1990s with the bands Sunny Day Real Estate, Piebald, Captain Jazz, and The Promise Ring. While the first wave was underground, the second wave reached a wider audience. Bands popular with emo were often no longer emo-core. The third wave began in the 2000s and became the most mass. Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, Paramore and Panic set the musical fashion. Popular social network MySpace, which promoted musical groups, contributed to the wide spread of the subculture. It was at this time that the recognizable emo style in clothing, hairstyles and makeup was formed.